Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Debsy, and place to be, it's Debsy. Boop, that's me. Boop, Debsy. Hey guys, happy Wednesday, and listen, it is just a triple treat Friday, and that's because, number one, it is the weekend. Number two, it is payday, and number three, it is the start of Vacanza. Is it Vacanza, Tilly? Is it Vacanza, Tilly? Is it Vacanza?
Yes,
Vacanza! Finally, on the third try. So it is the start of my week-long fall vacation. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm so excited. Okay. So listen, last night I watched two shows. I watched Golden Bachelor. I watched Bachelor in Paradise. So as usual, I will be recapping and ranting a little bit about the Golden Bachelor. Things are getting a little dicey, a little jealous. People are getting a little peanut butter and jelly up in here. So let's talk about it. We start off with a little bit of foreshadowing. Gary is kind of sad, sitting by himself, and he's kind of sad. Then they go forward to the current. We have four ladies just sitting there talking. We have April the chicken lady, Susan, Kathy, and Nancy. So they're talking, and Kathy is saying that things are changing a little bit. She had said, she said something like, have you noticed that some of the women, when they're sitting around the mansion, they'll be all bummed and like low key and all like, But then when Gary comes around, they'll be like, hi, and smiling and everything. She says that women are kind of two-faced at the house. She then says that she is jealous of Teresa because have you ever seen her clothes? Her clothes are so small. They can just fit in like a paper bag. They can fit in a plastic Ziploc bag. She didn't say that, but she did say she is jealous. And she had also said that the four of them have a group, and it's called ASKN. ASKN stands for April, Susan, Kathy, and Nancy. Because listen, if you're asking, we're telling. Okay, now listen. Susan's never going to see this. Susan is one of my favorite ladies on there. Oh, why do you have to be hooked up with Kathy? She might be really nice, but I wasn't a fan of her. I wasn't a fan of Kathy this week. Alrighty, so let's get into the night. We started off with a group date. This group date wasn't just some of the women, it was all of the women. So all of the women we're doing a talent show. We're gonna partake in a talent show. And Leslie, sexy dancer chick, the one who dated, I don't know if I have to do like this, but the one who dated Prince, she said, listen, she's going in very confident, overconfident. So they get there, and the guest host is none other than Caitlin Bristow. And she says that the winner of this will get a one-on-one dinner with Gary. So we had all different kind of talents. Susan did karate. Ellen said that she teaches sex education to middle school kids. She then shared that for middle school kids, a vagina is known as a hoo-ha. Chicken Lady her talent is being a beatnik. I don't know exactly what you do as a beatnik. Do you just run around and go peace, 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 snaps? Do you read like slam poetry or something? I don't know. There was a whipped cream catcher, so I guess you just throw whipped cream up in the air and you catch it in your mouth. Okay, now Leslie, the sexy dancer, she was kind of rubbing some of the ladies the wrong way because she was doing like a sexy dance, and she was like kind of giving them a lap dance. Some of the ladies didn't like that. And I don't know what Kathy's talent was, but please take off that stupid little cowboy hat. It looked ridiculous. Like, it looked ridiculous. And Joan, then there was Joan. Joan was like really nervous because Joan she said she doesn't have any kind of talent. So she wrote a poem, and she got up and she said, I'm very nervous, but I wrote a poem, and it's called, I Just Hope I Don't Vomit on Your Shoes. And it was adorable. I thought it was perfect. And so the winner, and listen, before you announce the winner, Leslie, sexy dancer Leslie, was like, I got this in the bag. I know I'm going to win this. As soon as someone says that, you know they're not going to win it. On a reality show, if somebody's like, I got this in the bag, I'm the winner, you know that they lost. You know that they didn't win. So who did he pick? He picked Joan. I was so happy for Joan. But didn't Leslie really complain? Wasn't she like, I'm always just thought of as a sexy dancer? Well, that's what you did. You just did sexy dancing. So that's, what are you getting? If you give somebody a lap dance, somebody isn't going to be like, I bet you she could really read the Constitution of the United States. I mean, what do you think they're going to say? So they went out to dinner, Joan and Gary. They go out to dinner, and Joan tells the story of how she's leaving something at home. And I guess her daughter just had a baby, and the labor was very rough. It was a very tough time. She had a really tough time giving birth. So she's, saying about everything that she had left there. And he says he feels very connected to her, and he feels that she really is in this for the right reason. Like she really wants to meet somebody because of everything that she left behind just to be here. He feels like she is really there for the right reasons. And does he give her, no, he doesn't give her a rose, but everything is going very, very well with them. So they get home, and then the next morning, Joan gets a text from her daughter saying that things are not getting better here. And I don't know if they've taken a turn for the worse, but they're not getting any better. So she says, I'm going to go back home. I have to go back home to be a mother. And she's real torn up about having to go, but she says, this is what I have to do. She sees Gary outside. Gary comes in and he's all smiling. He's in his convertible. He's all happy. And she meets him outside and she says, I'm sorry, but I have to do this. And she tells him, listen, I have to be there as a parent. I was really seeing something between us, and I'm sorry. And Gary says that he's really disappointed, but sometimes the right thing is hard to do, or something like that. And he's real broken up. Like, he sits outside. That's the scene that they show at the beginning where he's sitting outside and he's just real distraught, and it looks like he's gonna try and he's crying. But the thing that honestly that got it for me, for Joan, was as she was leaving, it kind of broke my heart that she said, when she said you become invisible when you get older, and it finally felt like she was seen and that there was a future, that just broke my heart. That made me really sad. Really did. But listen, I really hope they make Joan the first Golden Bachelorette. I think she would be great as the Golden Bachelorette. If they don't bring her back this year, which they won't, but I think she would be an excellent first Golden Bachelorette. So moving on to the one-on-one date. The one-on-one date goes to Ellen, which I like that. I like Ellen. She goes with designer, what's his name? Michael Costello. They try on fancy dresses there at the mansion, and she decides to wear this one pink strapless number. Really beautiful, very beautiful. So they go out. Listen, producers didn't have them driving all over the countryside at night. They go out for a day date. They're sitting there talking on the bench, and then they go on a hot air balloon ride. And were they I feel like they were sipping champagne, and it was beautiful. They got along so well. And he says that he really feels like he can be himself with her. The only thing he said was is the romance. So, but she gets the rose, and the thing they want to say before she left, all of the women seemed like so happy for her. I loved that. So Ellen got the rose, and he also gave her a pair of gorgeous earrings. Back at the mansion, it's getting kind of difficult for Teresa. Teresa was thinking about how they had their one-on-one and they had such a connection, and it's getting kind of difficult to see him dating other women. So Teresa starts talking to Kathy. Big mistake. She's talking to Kathy. She's talking about their one-on-one date, how they had a connection. And during this whole thing, Kathy is kind of feeling, and she tells the producers afterwards, like off camera, that Kathy's feeling like Teresa is boasting, and she's acting like she already has this sewn up, and she's already gonna get the final rose. And she also feels like Teresa is kind of saying, you know, you're not getting a rose. You shouldn't even try. You're going to be out and you're not getting a rose. So then a little bit later on, she's talking to the ladies. Kathy's talking to the ladies, and she gets all worked up and then just runs away. So apparently she went and told like April what was going on, because Chicken Lady then comes out to the group and is like, listen, if anybody has any kind of talk that you know that they have a strong connection, or you want to talk about what went on in your date, shut the F up, or shut up. Nobody needs to hear it. You don't need to. Because Kathy, when she was talking off camera, she was like, my mother would say that you should have some decorum. Listen, some decorum. It's not like Kathy was like, well, guess what? I gave him a blowy on the side of the highway while he tried to fix his headlights, and he played with my headlights. She didn't say anything like that. She was just like, we had a nice time. It seems like we have a bond. That's all. So listen, the worst is coming though, because then, okay, so it's the cocktail party. Kathy goes over. Kathy starts to stir pot. She goes over to Gary, and she's talking, and she says, oh, well, he says, how was your day? Oh, it was okay, but it wasn't so great. People were mean to me. There was a lady that was mean to me, and she didn't say, and then he asked, well, who was it? She's like, I'm not going to say, but they were mean to me. And he's like, well, you are one of the nicest, kindest hearted women I know. And somebody that does that, well, that's not right. And then he says off camera, she's not going to tell me who it is. But then he says to her, well, I'll be right back. And then he comes back and gives her a rose, because she was all, you know, oh, somebody was mean to me. Somebody was mean to me. So gives her the rose. And don't you know, she's crying before, doesn't she perk right up and get that rose? She perks up and gets the rose, goes back to the skedaddles, back to the friends, back to her friends. And, you know, she's playing, she's perfectly fine. She's not crying or anything. Teresa then sees this and says, hey, can I talk to you? So they talk, and she says, you know, Chicken Lady, April, I'm just going to say Chicken Lady said something about people who have a connection should shut up and not talk about it. And she's like, yeah, that's right. I didn't like what you were talking to me about. I feel like you think that you got this sewn up and you have such a strong connection. And then here's me down in the dirt. I don't have any shot in it and I'm not going to be getting one. And that's how I felt. And that's how you made me feel. And okay, so you can say if that's how you felt, that's how you feel. But then listen, then what's her name? Teresa. Then she comes up and tries to say, I didn't mean to offend you. She didn't mean to do that. Like, she wasn't coming in and boasting about it, she said. She tried to say that. And she tried to say, I'm thinking that she was trying to say, if that's how you felt, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to come off that way. But she didn't get a chance to say anything because Kathy just wouldn't let her say nothing. She wanted none of it. So then Kathy goes back to the ladies and Teresa goes to her room. Faith comes in and starts talking to her and tries to like console her. And Teresa's crying and Gary happens to be walking past the ladies' bedrooms. Not like the producer told him anything that's going on. And he walks in, he says, well, hey, what's going on? And she says, she tells the whole thing about Kathy. She actually said, well, some of the women are saying that I'm boastful about our bond and our relationship and our date. I don't think, it wasn't all of them. It was Kathy. Probably Kathy and Chicken Lady. And Gary in the back of his mind, he's like, oh, it was Kathy? Or, oh, it was Teresa? And he says, listen, if you know in your heart that you weren't doing it to be boastful, then just let it go. And like I said, in off camera, he was like, oh, okay, well, it was Teresa. She seemed like such a kind-hearted person whenever we were talking. And now he's like, maybe this might be a problem between us. Now, come on. Kathy, at that point, I wanted to drop kick Kathy. I wanted to D-double-K her. I wanted to drop kick Kathy because, listen, you are totally a two-faced because you went from crying, and then when you got the rose, you were perfectly fine. No, So, and before that, Kathy had said off camera, she said, listen, she might have a strong relationship right now, but she's not Mrs. Turner yet. I don't see how Kathy is going to get super far in this because, to be honest with you, between the two of them, I feel like it's more that Kathy is a friend. That's what I think. Okay, rose ceremony is coming up. Rose ceremony, here's who got in. It was Faith, Sandra, Leslie, sexy dancer, Nancy, Susan, I love Susan, Chicken Lady, that's April, Chicken Lady, and is Teresa in or out? Teresa is in. So that means the ones that are out are Edith and Christina. Listen, I was upset about Edith because I thought Edith was very classy. Edith had the gorgeous long gray hair that was just, she has some of the most beautiful hair I've ever seen on TV. Beautiful. So those are the ones that are out. Wow. So after that, well, while that's going on, while they're saying their goodbyes, doesn't Teresa say to Kathy, oh, I'm so happy I got a rose. And she said, oh yeah, that's great, or something like that. And then Teresa says, yeah, and she says something about like, yeah, we discussed it whenever he came up to my room. And she was like, he came up to your room? Listen, nothing happened, obviously. Like, she wasn't like, come into my boudoir so we can get it on there. And I can give you a blowy. She didn't do any of that. She was crying and he consoled her, that's all. Then that's when Kathy was like, I don't know if she's just stupid or if she knows exactly what she's doing. And listen, a little bit I was thinking, Teresa, listen, you were just told not to do that kind of stuff. And now you're saying this kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm not on Kathy's side. Ugh. Okay, so there we go. The drama is coming. It was delayed. The drama is here. The drama is coming. So with that being said, let me know if you watched. I'm still loving this show. I'm still loving it. I'm loving Susan. I don't think Susan's going to make it to finals, but I love Susan. Even though she's getting gassy from the guac and other people are getting gassy from her meatballs. I don't care. Okay, let me know in the comments if you watched. Also, if nobody told you yet today, I love you. You're loved, seen, and heard. Please make sure that you put love, kindness, compassion, acceptance, hope, and positivity and understanding out there. Please treat one another the way that you would want to be treated and take care of one another. Please stay aware of your surroundings. Stay safe at all times. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow for a little Bachelor in Paradise talk with Tanner. Woo! Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.